Spiritual hunger or spiritual control. The November 2025 JW broadcast rebuttal. Well, this month's JW broadcast opens with a simple question. Have you ever felt hungry? And they're not talking about hunger in Venezuela or Africa or the thousands of witnesses skipping meals because of poverty. They mean spiritual hunger, the kind you can only satisfy through Watchtower literature. Let's take a look at this clip.
Have you ever been so busy or engrossed in a project that you suddenly experience an intense feeling in your stomach? What is it? On bread alone. Yes, we must live on more than physical food. So it's not enough just to eat physical food. We also need to live on every word that comes from Jehovah's mouth.
It sounds harmless, even poetic, but watch how quickly they turn human need into obedience training. Feeding the person inside, they claim we all need to feed our inner spiritual self daily with Jehovah's words. The reality, it's a metaphor for dependence. So let's look at this clip.
Some of the problems that may develop without our realizing it. These problems involve what we might call eating disorders. What types of spiritual eating disorders might we experience? We could gradually lose our spiritual appetite. We could become so busy that we neglect to feed ourselves spiritually every day.
And in the Watchtower language, that means every word from Warwick, not from Jesus. They replace God's mouth with their printing press. It's not about knowing God, it's about consuming their content. And then they call it Jesus words. So the zinger is they call it spiritual food. I call it intellectual rationing. Now let's look at eating disorders and guilt. Let's look at this clip.
And we could be eating, but doing so quickly without getting the proper nutrition. How is your spiritual diet? Do you consistently feed yourself spiritually every day? Have your study habits become a little routine, perhaps even forced? Have you become like those who gulp down some food because they know they need to eat?
Okay, so they use the same tactic every month. If you feel drained, it's not burnout, it's your fault. Maybe you didn't read enough Watchtower. Maybe you've missed a meeting. And in reality, people are exhausted from being spiritually force-fed the same reheated material. So when religion blames your appetite for their bad cooking, you know it's not nourishment, it's indoctrination. And let's move on. Branch, dedication, and luxury. Let's look at this clip. This new branch in Britain.
Recently, the newly constructed branch in Britain was dedicated to Jehovah. In the following video report, you'll learn of the immense amount of work required to complete the branch office and the positive effects volunteering for this theocratic construction project had on the workers.
We have been witnesses to an amazing transformation.
Jehovah obviously saw that a project of this nature could really encourage our brothers and sisters.
And with his spirit, all things are possible.
It took 3 years to clean the site. I mean, the work that went into that was just tremendous.
There was a lot of asbestos on the site. They had to get rid of a lot of waste, household waste, a lot of World War II airplane tires that were on the site.
Some of the trees on site were over 300 years old, so extra care and respect were shown to make sure that they weren't damaged.
As the site progressed, we were able to plant a further 1,000 trees.
Because the land was restored, as it were, the wildlife returned to the site. We see the deers, we see badgers, we see ducks, we see hares, and it was beautiful because it gave us a glimpse into what the paradise would be like.
Well, this is beautiful footage, green lawns, fresh paint, professional landscaping. But in the real world, witnesses and poor congregations, they struggle to eat physically, while the governing body blesses itself with another multi-million-dollar campus. They preach spiritual food over physical food because they've never gone hungry, the governing body. From Warwick to London Bethel, they dine like kings while asking members to donate lunch money for kingdom halls. So here's a zinger. The governing body isn't feeding the flock, it's feeding itself. Nigel's story, Nigel's blood story. Let's look at this clip.
Orthopedic surgeons, they said you have a 10-hour operation, you'll need 4 to 5 bags of blood. I knew that Jehovah is God, and that he requires that commandment to stay away from blood. I thought, well, will I die? I thought about Mum in her deathbed, not being frightened. She knew that Jehovah promised her a resurrection. Disappeared. I don't have this pretense anymore that I have to protect myself. Jehovah protects us.
Nigel took his Bible study seriously.
Well, they recycle this narrative every few months, the faithful brother who risks death to prove loyalty. And yet, if he had died, Watchtower would have called it a victory, not a tragedy. It's not spiritual food they offer, it's spiritual cannibalism, living off the suffering of their followers. We're going to move on to the next section. Teachable equals obedient. Let's look at this clip.
Now, to be teachable means to have a willingness or readiness to learn or receive instruction.
Okay, so this is where the broadcast turns the table completely. Being teachable means never questioning authority. They say humble people accept correction, but humility in Watchtower speaks means silence. But humility in Watchtower speak means silence. So, are you humble? Are you teachable? Are you willing to receive instructions from who? From Watchtower. That's how they flip this. So when every meal comes from the same kitchen, you stop knowing what real food tastes like. Let's look at Obadiah and family treatment. Let's look at this clip.
If they don't respond and have to be removed, how do I feel about them? How do I speak to them? How do I treat them?
Yeah, like when they attend a meeting.
Exactly. Jehovah deeply cares about how we treat people.
That's especially true in the family. Jehovah condemned the Edomites because of how they treated their family, the Israelites. So that makes me think, how do I treat my family? How do I treat you, in public or in private?
That's a great point. Or am I inclined to be cruel or unkind in what I say or do, even if I feel justified for some reason? What effect could my treatment have on my family's thinking or their relationship with Jehovah? What does Jehovah see? What message would Jehovah have for me if Obadiah came to visit?
So, and yet the same organization orders families to shun their children, their parents, their own blood. They condemn Edom for betraying family while making family betrayal a weekly ritual. So, quite hypocritical when they use this clip. And the zinger is they preach kindness in the studio and cruelty in the congregation. The next section is Dominic and mental health. Let's look at this clip.
Since doing more in the preaching work, I start to think much less about myself. In my case, about my problems. Well, medication and counselling helps. Now, the medication will help me to relax a bit. That's as much as it'll do, Won't feel the other things like, feeling hope. Medication doesn't give you that sense of hope. Even now I can say I never thought I would get to this point where I'm now. And only Jehovah can do that. I know, because if I could have done that, I would have done it in the past.
You notice the pattern? Discourage professional help, then credit Jehovah when someone improves. But what about those who spiral because they're told not to seek therapy? Those stories don't make it to JW Broadcasting. They call it hope, but it's dependency dressed in faith. Postcard from Belgium. Let's look at this clip.
Our postcard this month comes from a country that's renowned for its waffles, fries, and almost 1,500 different kinds of beer. And where, according to one study, the average inhabitant indulges in 8 kilograms of chocolate per year. Have you guessed where this might be? If you guessed Belgium, well done.
They end with tourism and trivia to distract from the message's emptiness. Not a single mention of the court cases or the child abuse probes in Europe. Just waffles and nostalgia. That's how they fool their people. And if only truth were as sweet as the chocolate they brag about. Well, they tell you man cannot live on bread alone, but no one should have to live on guilt alone either. And real faith feeds compassion, not corporations. And real love shares bread. It doesn't ration it. This is Fixing My Faith. My name is Vern. Live your life with love. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now. Well, before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to thank our coffee club supporters. These are the folks who help keep Fixing My Faith going. And I'm scrolling through them right now. And if you see your name, thank you for standing with us. But here's the thing. The best way you can support us is absolutely free. Over almost 60% of our viewers are not subscribed. So if you've been watching and getting value out of these videos, hitting that subscribe button tells YouTube to share this with more people who need it. So subscribe, like, and share. And we also run a completely free community. It's called ExJWFriends.com. That's where you can find it on the website, ExJWFriends.com. And then on the website, once you go there, there's a link to the private Discord channel. And that's where people have a lot of fun. People share their stories, they get support, and they can connect without judgment. That's what happens there. There's also people that will help coach, life coaches, counselors. There's all kinds of support at ExJW Friends. And if you're waking up or just need to talk it out, that's where you want to go. So here's a link on screen in case you want to find it. And we also put a link in the descriptions of all of our videos. You can just go right down there and hit the link to the Discord community. So whether you are supporting through the coffee club or just clicking, liking, and subscribing, it all helps spread the message. And we want you to know that we appreciate you. Live your life with love, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.